For today's headlines, help solve society's ills. 1 billion pesos COVID-19 aid released. Rally behind BBM-Sara says go. IATF OKs vax cert from 3 countries. Senators and party lists proclaimed Tuesday. Bureau of Corrections eyes intensified prison records digitalization. Yulo and Wong carry day at Southeast Asian Games. U.S. teen kills nearly a dozen. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and this is Tribune News on Q. Today is May 16, 2022, and these are the latest news of this Monday morning. President Rodrigo Duterte on Sunday called on new graduates of the Philippine Military Academy or PMA to lend a hand in correcting society's ills as he bid them goodbye as Armed Forces Commander-in-Chief in Baguio City. Before the 214-strong graduating cadets of the PMA Bagsik Diwa class of 2022, the president admitted he resorted to extreme measures only to realize they were not enough to solve the problems. Sad to admit that after 6 years, these ills still hound us through to a lesser degree, said Mr. Duterte, who would be leaving big shoes to fill by incoming President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. With Marcos Jr. in the next administration is the president's daughter, presumptive Vice President Sara Duterte Carpio. In late April, Duterte admitted he was wrong when he promised to solve the country's illegal drugs problem within 3 to 6 months. He said it was hubris that made him issue the prediction. Mr. Duterte, whose 6-year term as the 16th president of the country will end next month, congratulated the graduates, those who topped the class, and also their parents. The Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, has announced the release of 1.081 billion pesos to the Department of Health to cover the death and sickness benefits of COVID-19 frontliners. Among those qualified for the benefits are public and private healthcare and non-healthcare workers who contracted the virus in the line of duty at health facilities, the department said in a statement over the weekend. Those who contracted mild or moderate COVID-19 infections will each receive 15,000 pesos in compensation, while those whose infections were severe or which needed critical care will each be compensated for 100,000 pesos, it added. The DBM said each of the families, those who contracted COVID on duty and those who died because of it, would receive 1 million pesos. The funds were charged against the regular budget of the DOH under the 2022 General Appropriations Act. Thus, the compensation will be transferred by the DOH to its hospitals and facilities whose services are retained by the department. President Rodrigo Duterte has signed a law released last April 29 granting continuing mandatory benefits for health workers during the COVID pandemic and the future health emergencies. Senator Christopher Bongo heralded the last elections as a rousing success and urged all Filipinos to rally behind the incoming administration of presumptive President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. and Vice President Sara Duterte Carpio. He expressed hope that the Marcos Jr. administration will build on the gains of the Duterte administration with the support and cooperation of our citizenry. The senator stressed that while some election-related violence and incidents had been reported, the exercise had been successful and generally peaceful. Go added that the people have spoken and those engaged in political recriminations must set aside their differences as the country needs our solidarity more than ever. Go said that he has not stopped going around the country to help indigent Filipinos cope with poverty and the ill effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
Magandang araw mga katribo! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelevelo, Atty. Lia Badillo Crisostomo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Chert Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Simulan natin ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments ng aming programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising na!
Ang Daily Tribune may digital shows na din. Dahil sa mas lumalaki at mas lumalakas nating tribu, handog sa inyo ng Daily Tribune ang mga programang magbibigay buhay araw-araw. Be informed at mag-good vibes tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Be updated sa news and happenings sa Tribune News on Cue. Mas kilalanin pa natin ang mga paborito nyong atleta sa programang The Athletes Tribune. Alamin ang latest entertainment sa programang What's Up. Ma-inspire sa mga kwentong hatid ng Perfect. Search lang ang Daily Tribune sa inyong Facebook at Tribune Now on YouTube. See you there, mga katribu! Mapalutong bahay man o sumptuous meal for special occasions, sagot na kayo ng tropang Kalanpag. Dahil atid sa inyo ng Daily Tribune ang fun and exciting cooking show na Kalanpag, manood at matuto kung paano lutuin ang mga favorite nyong recipes. Sabayan pa ng fun and inspiring na kwentuhan sa kusina. I-upgrade na rin natin ang mga nakasanayang traditional dish ng pamilya. Plus, healthy tipid tips na ibabahagi ng tropang Kalanpag. Matuto, mabusog, at ma-good vibes dito lang sa Kalanpag. Tuwing Lunes, 10:30 a.m. sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube. Mga katribu, tara na't makiisa at matuto sa mga public service programs hatid ng Kalingang Katribu. Tuwing Lunes, nandyan ang usapang business na magbibigay tips at inspirasyon sa mga aspiring entrepreneurs kasama si Vernon Velasco. Tuwing Miyerkules, usapang pangkalusugan naman ang tatalakayin ni Miss Cory Quirino sa Health and Wellness. At tuwing Biyernes naman, kung legal advice ang kailangan mo, sagot ka na ng Legal Diaries kasama si Elmer Navarro Manuel at mga guest lawyers. Lahat ng niya mapapanood tuwing alas 3:30 ng hapon sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube. Alamin ang latest entertainment at sa mga paborito nyong celebrities kasama.
We are back on Tribune News on Cue. The government's pandemic task force has approved the recommendation to accept and recognize the coronavirus disease 2019 vaccine certificates of Morocco, the Republic of Kenya, and the Republic of Serbia. The Interagency Task Force of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF EID, issued its approval on Friday, which means incoming travelers from the said countries can present COVID-19 vaccination certificates for purposes of arrival quarantine protocols, as well as for interzonal or intrazonal movement. Presidential spokesperson and communications secretary Martin Andanar said that the IATF EID has already ordered the Bureau of Quarantine, the Department of Transportation's one-stop shop, and the Bureau of Immigration to recognize only the proofs of vaccination approved by the task force. Since the country resumed accepting fully vaccinated foreign tourists in February this year, the government has accepted and recognized the vaccination certificates of 82 countries, territories, and jurisdictions as sufficient proof of vaccination. Apart from the national COVID-19 vaccination certificates, the Philippines is also accepting the World Health Organization International Certificate of Vaccination and Prophylaxis, VaxCert-PH, national or state digital certificate of a foreign country accepting VaxCert-PH, and other proofs of vaccination authorized by the IATF EID. Meanwhile, the Commission on Elections is eyeing the proclamation on Tuesday, May 17, of all 12 winning senatorial candidates and the partial group of winning partylist groups. In a radio interview, COMELEC Commissioner George Garcia said all remaining certificates of canvass, or COC, were to be canvassed within the day, to be followed by the preparation for the proclamation to be done on Monday. Garcia said we can have the proclamation of senators along with the party lists anytime they deem that the number of votes obtained by the candidates is sufficient and will not affect the remaining results from the COC that were not yet sent. On Saturday, 149 of 173 COCs have been canvassed. The Bureau of Corrections, or BuCor, announced that it will launch soon Inmate Management Information System, or IMIS, to help digitalize records of persons deprived of liberty, or PDL, for easier access to prison records. The Department of Justice, meantime, disclosed the availability of personnel to handle the government's Single Carpeta System, or SCS, in June this year for the computerization of the country's penitentiaries records. According to the BuCor, the IMIS is a nationwide comprehensive case monitoring and information system that tracks the progress of cases from one agency to another. DOJ Undersecretary Dio Marco, who supervises BuCor, received last May 11 the manpower as well as donations of equipment, including scanners and laptops, from the Justice Reform Program Governance and Justice, or GoJust. GoJust is a program funded by the European Union in partnership with the Philippine government, and its website states that it aims to improve access to justice for all Filipinos in order to contribute to inclusive and sustainable socio-economic development. The DOJ started digitalizing 5 years ago the records of PDL under SCS for the department's National Justice Information System. Marcos said that once the information has been digitalized, it will enter into the Integrated Management Information System software. Thus, the details about the PDL will be easily known, and other government agencies will also have access, like the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, the National Bureau of Investigation, and the Board of Pardons. As of April 11, there are a total of 48,991 prisoners at BuCor facilities nationwide. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
Alamin ang latest entertainment at sa mga paborito nyong celebrities kasama si Pocholo Concepcion sa programang What's Up. Makibanding at kwentuhan kasama ang mga kilalang personalidad sa entertainment industry. Sama-sama natin silang kilalanin at silipin ang makulay nilang mundo every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Kaya sit back and relax lang kayo mga katribu. Hanapin at ilike ang Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube. Dahil sagot na namin ang masayang kwentuhan, dito lang sa What's Up. Non-stop showbiz update ba ang hanap nyo? Sagot na yan ang aming Tribune Extra. Balitang entertainment at lifestyle, mapalocal man o international, meron kami niyan. Manood at makichika na kasama si Kim Sancha, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 5 ng hapon sa Tribune News on Q, at separate premiere nito ng alas 7:30 ng gabi. Mapapanood sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube. Magandang araw mga katribu! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelevelo, Atty. Lia Badillo Crisostomo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Chert Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Simulan natin ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments ng aming programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising Na!
Ang Daily Tribune may digital shows na din. Dahil sa mas lumalaki at mas lumalakas nating tribu, handog sa inyo ng Daily Tribune ang mga programang magbibigay buhay araw-araw. Be informed at mag-good vibes tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Be updated sa news and happenings sa Tribune News on Q. Mas kilalanin pa natin ang mga paborito nyong atleta sa programang The Athletes Tribune. Alamin ang latest entertainment sa programang What's Up. Ma-inspire sa mga kwentong hatid ng Perfect. Search lang ang Daily Tribune sa inyong Facebook at Tribune Now on YouTube. See you there mga katribu! Fun and inspiring na kwentuhan? Sagot na yan ang programang Spotlight ng Daily Tribune. Makipagkwentuhan at kilalanin ng iba't ibang
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. The Philippines kept itself in play for a decent finish in the 31st Southeast Asian Games on Sunday, as gymnastics provided 3 golden moments behind Carlos Yulo and Filipino-American recruit Alea Finnegan. Likewise, wushu, duathlon, and athletics also delivered the medal color that mattered the most. Yulo starred in the floor exercise and rings and fell off the pommel horse, but Finnegan's triumph in the vault slightly eased the pain of the mishap. Agatha Wong and Arnel Manila accounted for Wushu's twin contributions, while Kim Mangrobang glowed in duathlon and Willie Morrison threw his weight around in shot put. The key victories shoved the defending champion to third place in the medal standings with a tally of 19, 22, 23. In other news, a heavily armed 18-year-old white man shot 10 people dead on Saturday at a Buffalo, New York grocery store in a racially motivated attack that he live-streamed on camera, authorities said. The gunman, who was wearing body armor and a helmet, was arrested after the massacre, Buffalo Police Commissioner Joseph Gramaglia told a news conference. Gramaglia put the toll at 10 dead and 3 wounded. 11 of the victims were African Americans. The gunman shot 4 people in the parking lot of the Top supermarket, 3 of them fatally, then went inside and continued firing, Gramaglia said. Among those killed inside the store was a retired police officer working as an armed security guard, and the guard engaged the suspect, fired multiple shots, but the gunman shot him, Gramaglia said. He added that when the police arrived, the shooter put the gun to his neck but was talked down and surrendered. Stephen Belongia, special agent in charge of the FBI's Buffalo field office, told the news conference that the shooting is being investigated as a hate crime. Erie County Sheriff John Garcia described the attack as pure evil. And that wraps up the stories this morning, but before we go, we would like to thank the following. SM Store, Araneta City, Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, Empire Eastern Holdings Incorporated, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista on Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tarsito are available on our community Viber.